Hello YouTube, it's your boy Afro coming back at you once again. And I guess today I just really wanted to talk about something specific in regards to current events. I'll get back into me talking about different African tribes again, but I really wanted to focus on current events because things are actually getting kind of crazy, especially in Africa. Um, Africa is starting to wake up. You have a lot of African nations kicking out their previous colonizers, and I wish the best for them to hopefully make the right decision in regards to how they'll deal with other people trying to colonize Africa, i.e. China. And essentially, I wanted to focus on specifically something that happened in Ethiopia. Now, I respect Ethiopia a lot, not just because they weren't ever colonized. People like to say they were. Mussolini, like, basically annexed their country. Okay, well, fine then. So how come, like, people called, like, what Germany did to France when they occupied France, right? They didn't call that annexation. They just called it an occupation. So we're not going to even talk about that. However, I want to talk about specifically what happened in Ethiopia because they've been on the games, they've been on the knowledge of what Europeans have been trying to do for them for years. They've been keeping track of them for years because they know how the Europeans play their game. And they were always aware of what the Europeans really wanted, and they wanted total control over Africa. They literally tried to make another Afghanistan, another Libya, another Syria, whatever, another Iraq, whatever you want to call it, another Yemen in Ethiopia. So they can just keep pillaging the resources so they can keep winning. How did they try to do that? They tried using a previous group that was controlling the nation known as the TPLF. Okay, now notice this group that they were propping up, making excuses for it, lying on the Ethiopian government, saying, hey, these people committed a lot of crimes. The Ethiopians government committed a lot of crimes, and like they're doing horrible things to these people. This is why we have to help the TPLF. And they're trying to say that they weren't supporting them. Meanwhile, there are videos showing that the UN trucks were actually carrying guns into the nation in order to supply the TPLF. And you have to remember the TPLF is known for committing genocide as well in Gambela, in Otomo, and in Ogaden as well. Okay, the TPLF, the leader, literally came out himself and said the Western governments were propping him up. Now, I really love the way Ethiopia got their hands on the exposure of what the Western powers were doing, because specifically what they actually found them doing was they recorded them and caught them actually trying to meddle in their affairs. Okay, and they stuck up for themselves at the United Nations as well, because we all know the United Nations is nothing but a joke anyway. It's just like I remember from Black Panther, the cartoon. I remember like when this white guy in that cartoon said it specifically. The United Nations is just a place where everybody can go complain to the white man. That's really what it is. And Ethiopia caught on to that, and they caught on to the games that the United Nations was trying to play, and they basically kicked them the hell out of, they expelled the UN officials that were plotting a lot of nonsense in the country out. These guys were trying to manufacture famines and manufacturing problems so that they can have excuses so the US could run their asses in there and give them like another Iraq or another Libya. And I have to applaud Kenya. I have to applaud Djibouti for not giving in to the United States' demands, or giving into the United States' favor, trying to say, hey, listen, do you mind if we use your Navy bases to bomb Ethiopia? And they said no. And now they're in Sudan trying to like cause problems with Sudan to do the same thing in Sudan. And you just never know who's a puppet at this point. You never know who's working for who. But we have to give Ethiopia the credit that it deserves. Okay? They've been on it for years. Okay? And when you look at the rest of Africa, especially the countries that are still dominated by France, even they're trying to kick France the hell out. So Africa is starting to wake up. They're trying to say, no more nonsense. It's not happening anymore. And I gotta applaud them for that. Respect. A lot of respect. Okay, and if you don't believe me, I'm gonna play a clip for you guys just to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So get ready to watch the clip.
Let's turn to Ethiopia, which has expelled 7 United Nations officials. The Ethiopian government has accused them of meddling in its internal affairs. The expulsion comes right after the UN blamed Ethiopia of human rights violations. This is over the ongoing conflict in the Tigray region. Now, this back and forth between the UN and the Ethiopian government has not just hampered emergency aid to Ethiopians. It has also dented the UN's credibility, its effectiveness in solving armed conflicts. Here's a report.
Since November 2020, Ethiopia's Tigray region has been embroiled in an armed conflict. A war between the Tigray People's Liberation Front and forces supporting Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This conflict has spiraled into a humanitarian disaster. 5.2 million Ethiopians require food aid. 400,000 are living in famine-like conditions. And the rate of child malnutrition is worse than Somalia's. The United Nations has been working to put an end to the turmoil. At a press conference last month, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights tried to bring the world's attention to the plight of Ethiopians. She accused both the Ethiopian government and the resistance of human rights violations.
Allegations of human rights violations have continued to implicate government forces and its allies. We have received disturbing reports that local fishermen found dozens of bodies floating along the river crossing between Western Tigray and Sudan in July.
These remarks have upset the government of Abiy Ahmed. In response, it has expelled 7 senior UN officials, accusing them of meddling in the country's affairs. A letter released by the country's foreign minister states that all 7 UN officials have been declared persona non grata. They've been asked to leave the country within the next 72 hours. The global body has been taken aback by the decision. The UN Secretary General says he is shocked. He has appealed to the Ethiopian government to withdraw its decision.
I will start with a statement by the Secretary General on Ethiopia. I was shocked by the information that the government of Ethiopia has declared 7 UN officials, including senior UN humanitarian officials, as persona non grata.
But these appeals have failed. Ethiopia is unrelenting. It says the decision will not be changed, reviewed, or modified in any way whatsoever. The face-off shows how powerless the UN can be when states fail to agree. It also depicts the UN's failure in Ethiopia. For all its humanitarian aid to the Tigray region, the UN has failed to build consensus on ending the crisis. The UN Security Council has not convened a single meeting to discuss it. No one knows what deliberations and diplomacy are taking place. Since November 2020, the Security Council has only issued a single media statement on the crisis. It's a travesty that Ethiopia hasn't been dealt with on priority. Not only does this undermine the UN's credibility, but also puts the life of millions of Ethiopians at risk. Bureau Report, WION. World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Now, as you previously literally just saw in the video, they're just meddling with their business, getting involved in shit that has nothing to do with them. Okay, so I applaud Ethiopia with getting these idiots out of their business and putting them straight in their freaking place where they belong. Alright? Thank you for watching this video, guys. Tell me what you think about it, and if you have any more ideas for me, especially in regards to my new topics, which I'll be talking about, Africa today, modern day, what's going on today, give me some ideas. And if you have any ideas for me about any specific tribe you want me to talk about, go ahead and shoot some out. Have a good day and happy holidays.